busy schedule, so let's get moving. The first item is the pledge. So if we're all going to stand up, you recite the pledge, please. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next item, approved minutes for October 3rd, 2023. I'd like to approve those.
Thank you.
Next item, any correspondence at this time?
No.
No correspondence? We have two old business cases, but I was requested on both cases for to open up the public comment section. I will do that. So with that, I will read the rules of conduct now. So bear with me. At a public hearing before the board, the petitioner or proponent shall first present the facts and arguments in support of the case. Those who oppose the petitioner shall follow. The petitioner shall have rebuttal time at the conclusion of those opposing the petition. Those opposed shall then be allowed a total maximum of 10 minutes to rebut any new statements made by the petitioner in this rebuttal. It should be within the discretion of the board to impose any time limitation on either the petitioner or respondent and to limit public comment to those determined by state statute to the interested parties. Written remonstrance shall be accepted by the board, but need not to be read into the board's record. This then concludes the public hearing. To maintain orderly procedure, each side shall proceed without interruptions by others. All materials presented by the petitioner and or remonstrators or supporters to the petition, including photographs, shall become property of the board and part of the record. So with that, the first case is DV-2024-67. Applicant is Mark Richardson. Location 814 North 450 West, Valparaiso in Portage Township. Zoning is R2, medium density, single family residential district, acre 2. A request to allow increase in maximum floor area for a proposed 1,280 square foot addition to an existing 1,600 square foot pole barn used for woodworking hobby. Okay.
Yeah. Good afternoon. My name is Todd Leith. I'm an attorney, and I'm here on behalf of Mark Richardson, who joins me at the table. Mark was here in March, where you conducted a hearing on his variance, and we took a recess to try and get more information. And in the meantime, Mark contacted me, and we've worked together. And I'm going to ask Mark to share a little bit about what he's done with regard to looking at his community up and down the road that his home is on 450 West, and he's of course on the west side, and that's depicted on your screen. As you indicated, it's R2, which is a little higher zoning than we typically see in our zoning hearings. And that's largely because the backyard, those apartment buildings that you see on the screen there, is the city of Portage. So the rear property line is the city boundary for the city of Portage. As we indicated, we want to add a 32 by 48 addition to the back of the accessory building that you can see there, the white roof in that screen. In the bottom right corner of the property, which would be the southwest corner, right? Southeast corner, yes, please, thank you, is the home and a detached garage, which is about 8 feet separated from the home itself. And when you combine the two accessory buildings, because the garage is detached and the pole barn, he is currently over the allowed accessory square footage. So the addition is in addition to all of that. We are looking at the community, and if you look on the west side of 450 West, there's 19 parcels from Highway 6 to the north. And of those 19 parcels, 16 of those are approximately 1 acre, and 3 are 2 acres. Mark's is one of those. And so I think that has to play in, and Mark's going to really look at that and drill in on the parcel sizes and the types of uses and the accessory structures in that area. We also have some support that was there, but we've just now asked them to come forward, and I did ask you to open the public hearing, and we'll hear from them. We've also got some letters that Mark will submit to you as well. So we understand that he comes to you already over the accessory limit and asks for 1,742 more square feet of accessory structure because the code limits that by percentage of the size of the parcel. I think that accessory structure code prevents overbuilding, which is very similar to lot coverage, in my opinion. So I did a calculation of the lot coverage for Mark's parcel, and I think his lot coverage is just shy of 17,000 square feet of impervious surface between driveways, the home, and the accessory structures today. That's half of what the code requires for lot coverage. Lot coverage allows 40% lot coverage, and so he's right around 20%. So I think if you look at the intent of the code and what these code requirements are meant to address, he has certainly, I think, met the standard of he hasn't overbuilt, even if you were to allow the extension. But if that's your feeling, if you want to establish a line, if you will, and we're significantly over, there's no question about that, then what I would suggest is Mark is willing to connect the detached garage to the home, which would make it all principal structure and would remove 1,386 square feet of accessory structure to allow for him to then turn around and have the addition on the pole barn.
Can you please repeat that statement again?
So if we attach structurally the home and the detached garage, which is only 8 feet away, and make it one structure, then it becomes the primary structure. And the detached garage is removed from the calculation of accessory.
But the garage is staying there, of course.
The garage would stay. But remember, Mr. Burns, we're only half of lot coverage. So we've got plenty of room in the lot coverage issue. But what that does is, in my opinion, it allows you to swap square foot for square foot. Not one-to-one, I admit that. But it allows you to stay within the guardrails of reasonableness for accessory structure square footage, which is our request of you today. With that, I'm going to ask Mark to give you his handout and explain a little bit about what he's done.
This is a folder of all the houses on my street from 875 to Route 6, east and west.
Okay, you're going to have to speak at the speaker. So, yeah, we're recording everything.
Leave him that.
Yeah, so, okay.
The red one is just the ones that I deem as
Yeah.
not being very well in compliance.
Okay, if you could start over.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
I'm sorry. State your name and.
All right, Mark Richardson. My address is 814 North, 450 West, Valparaiso. The green folder that I gave you is pictures of all the homes on my street from 875 North to Route 6. In that stretch of the road, there's 34 homes. Only a half of that half mile of the 3/4 mile is actually home. To the north, where we have agricultural, and to the south there at Route 6 and 450 West, there's commercial. So the red folder is what I primarily wanted to go over with you. If I could read this real quick, please. North 450 West is a 3/4 mile stretch of road that has a mixture of properties zoned agricultural, residential, and commercial. The north end of 450 West consists of agricultural properties. In the middle, there is a half-mile stretch of residential consisting of 15 homes on the west side, 19 homes on the east side. The commercial part is at the intersection of 450 West and Route 6. Of the 15 lots, 808 North to 848 North on the west side, 450 West on the west side of 450 West, 814 North is the largest lot at 2 acres. The rest consisting of 8 lots at 1 acre each, and the remaining 6 lots ranging from 1.7 to 0.70 acre lots. Of the 19 lots, 805 North to 849 North on the east side of 450 West, you have agriculture on both sides of 450 West from the south side of County Road 875 North to where the residential starts. All properties on the east side back farm fields except for the one located at 805 North and the intersection of Route 6. This property backs up to commercial property that is very visible from 450 West. Residential properties range from 3.5 acres to 0.43 acres. 25 years ago, when I purchased my property, 450 West was a dead-end road ending where the houses, 848 and 849 North, stop. Both east and west sides of our backyards backed up to farm field. The road is now open and goes through to Route 20. The west lots now back up to apartments, which is also the Portage city limits. On 4/10/24, I spoke with Mike Haller, who informed me shipping containers were not permitted and carports are illegal. In the following 15 pages, you will see 3 properties with carports, 2 properties with semi-trailers on the ground, and 1 property with a shipping container. 2 properties that the residents have total junkyards. So there's basically 10 properties not very well in compliance, which is 29.4% of the 34 homes on 450. They exceed the accessory structure to property size ordinance. The accessory structure measurements that I did may not be exact dimensions, but are very close. I'm aware that these properties were grandfathered in, as well as mine, but this is what you see when you drive down 450 West. The last 4 pages are of 840 North 450 West. And you start out with one that's 3 houses north of me. This guy has 2 carports. It's a 1 acre lot with 2 carports, several outbuildings, pools, and decks. Then you go to 828. It's 0.76 of an acre. He's got a carport, a 30 by 30 garage, a 12 by 20 shed. That is 3 houses north of me, covering 3.44% of his lot with accessory buildings. 830 North 450 West is a 0.70 acre lot with a 28 by 28 garage, a 30 by 40 pole barn. That is 4 houses north of me. He covers 6.5% of his lot with accessory buildings. 836 North is a 1 acre lot with a 32 by 32 pole barn. The lean-to addition doesn't show up on your satellite pictures. At least it did not on my computer. He covers 2.35% of his property with accessory buildings. 838 is one of the first yards that I'm referring to as a junkyard. If you look at that picture, you will see what I'm talking about. Several of the neighbors on the street, and when this is over, I need to get with somebody to find out who we got to talk to. There's 2 houses that they're literally junkyards. If you look at that picture, it's bad.
Actually seen them when I was looking at your property.
Okay.
Letters.
Yeah, and one of them is right across the street from me.
We're going to address that.
Okay.
The shipping container.
Thank you.
Okay, we
We'll appreciate it. I appreciate it. One of the shipping containers is right in my backyard at the apartments. Been there for over a year.
yeah.
So every time I walk out my back door, that's what I see is a shipping container. 842 North is a 1 acre lot with carports, 24 by 24.
Okay,
Two-story.
no, you don't have to read,
Okay.
we have it, you know.
Got it, okay.
We're going to take.
You get the, okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you. You'll also find in that red folder the 3 letters on the left side of letters in support
Yeah.
from neighbors.
Are you finished?
Yes.
We're finished. Thank you so much.
I said I opened up the public hearing on this case. Anybody want to speak in favor of this case? In favor? Yes, sir. You need to step up to the microphone and state your name and address, please.
can just speak to it, it'll pick up.
Chester Kapika, live at 823 North, 450 West, almost across the street from him, just
Okay.
one over.
And you're just in favor of it?
Favorite, yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you. Okay, sir.
Paul Reed, 819 North 450. I live directly across the street from Mark, and I support it. And I've heard rumors that, you know, it was because it is being denied because of an eyesore. There's other things on our street that's worse than eyesores, and I've called the commissioner's office several times and been told that somebody was going to come out and discuss that with these people. But
Wow.
I'm for Mark adding. He keeps his property up really nice, and I don't see any problem with it at all.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you. Anybody else want to speak for? Anybody want to speak against or any questions? Okay, I'd like to close the public hearing. Well, apparently we need some attention out there, so I mentioned we're going to turn to code enforcement.
Yep.
Code enforcement, okay. That's awful large pole barn.
Yes, it is.
Do you have to have that size?
I can go down to like 30 feet, and he said 48 feet. It's actually, I'm asking for a 32 by 40.
40.
Sorry. I can come down to 30 feet, and that's the least I could probably, at that,
What's your lease amount?
I'm sorry,
What is the lease amount, 30 by 30?
32 by 30.
32 for the increase.
It's an additional 960 square feet.
Explain the woodworking shop or hobby.
I have a sawmill. I mill my own logs. I don't know if this picture is new enough that it even shows it, but in the back of that red folder, you'll see I have a bunch of logs backed up back there.
Did you bring pictures of the sawmill inside?
Not, I didn't bring pictures of the sawmill, no.
All right. I'm gonna tell you my concern with the sawmill. The sound, I mean, it's unusual to see a sawmill in a residential area.
And that's,
Yeah,
the purpose of the addition would be, it'd be indoors. One of the letters from a woman from the apartments mentions that, I have even approached them and asked them, is it too loud? It's not an everyday occurrence. I'll mill logs over one weekend, and it'll be 6-8 months before I do it again.
It just doesn't fit in a residential. I mean, you need a use variance. I mean, that's a sawmill in a residential area. Very unusual. Normally sawmills are out on a farm or, 10, 20 acres or even larger. I've been in several sawmills in my lifetime, and
It's a small portable sawmill.
I've seen the size of timber you have out there. I mean, you see the pictures. I mean, it's. I call them buzz saws.
It's a bandsaw.
Bandsaw. When I hear a woodworking shop, I'm thinking bandsaws, table saws, planers, lights like that. Not a sawmill.
Sawmill is a bandsaw.
Excuse me.
Don't
but,
speak out.
When I think of sawmill, I think of the large rotary blade.
That's not.
Not a bandsaw. I mean, bandsaw to me sounds like a woodworking shop.
Yeah.
But
A sawmill.
Can I approach you with?
Sure, can. Absolutely.
It's still long. That's the size of my sawmill. That's exactly what I have.
What size is a blade?
I think it's a 92-inch blade.
92-inch blade. That's a sawmill. That's a sawmill. That's not a hobby. I cannot approve this for because it's sawmill. Mr. Leith, you have to ask for a use variance. This is a business operating in an R2. I mean, you have I don't know if those are apartments or condos behind you, because you got residential next to you and down the street. I'm just thinking of the buzz, the sawing operation, plus moving equipment. I mean, you have to move these large trunks, around with a forklift or some type of machine. You can't even lift these.
who do you mill the logs for?
Myself. I don't sell anything.
Yeah.
It's just a personal hobby. It started years ago. I went to go to White's in Valpo, the sawmill that they had, and they were just closing. I could not find hardwood anywhere. I do small boxes for just personal. I just made an urn for an animal we had to have put to sleep, stuff like that. I have a CNC machine in my woodworking shop and a small CNC machine. Everything is very small scale. As far as lifting the logs, I have a F-350 1-ton Ford truck with a jib crane on it that I use to lift the logs, and that's how I move them.
What do you use it for? And you say it's personal use.
Yes.
Well, what do you use it for? Just curious.
What kind of things do I make?
What do you use with?
He has a woodworking shop.
Yeah.
And he's, the sawmill mills the
I understand.
wood for that
Resell.
hobby.
What does he do? He says personal.
No, I don't resell it.
He doesn't sell it.
I'll show you a picture
Yeah, it's just curious what.
that I made.
Uh,
Here's a. This is an urn that I just made for a Shih Tzu that we had to have put to sleep, and that's made out of cherry. This is a picture of a 1-ton truck with a boom that I used to lift the logs.
Yeah, I seen your equipment out there, in your trucks. You had like three trucks. Four.
The
Yeah.
old dump truck and the old flatbed. Thought I had them sold. You can back up again.
Yeah.
I thought they were sold. The guy backed out, but those are gone. They will be gone. The black.
I mean, if you understand where I'm coming, I go out there, I see a
Right.
operation, a sawmill operation. Of course, it wasn't operating, but I see equipment, and then, I'm thinking my experience with the sound and the location of it.
With this addition, everything would be indoors. No trucks, no trailers, no equipment would be left outside at all.
I understand that.
That's one of the reasons I need the.
Concern is the sound factor. And what I'm gonna ask, I'm gonna continue this case. This is the first situation. I've been on the board about 25 years, and a sawmill is a residential area, asking for approval. That's kind of unique.
It has a
I
19.
need some legal advice on this too.
Okay. The sawmill has a 19-horse motor, which
It's a 92-inch blade,
yeah,
approximately.
well, yeah, best I can remember, somewhere in that neighborhood.
Sound, do you have decibel rating on that?
I don't know what one.
Can you turn it into the office? You should have, you purchased them.
I can get it, yes.
But-
I'll get one. If anything else, I'll
And
get a meter and measure it.
And
It's a 19-horse motor on it, gas motor, just like you would have on a lawnmower.
Yeah, okay.
And when it's cutting, that's all you hear is the motor running. You're not hearing, it's quieter than my chainsaw, or it's really not that loud.
Is the building insulated?
Yes, the existing one is. It's insulated with 3/4-inch plywood on the walls on the inside.
What do you do with the shavings? Just curious.
Sawdust, usually just throw it away or take it to the compost site, but typically I throw it away. I've had this maybe 3 or 4 years, and I think I've literally milled wood 3 times. It takes over a year to dry.
Yeah.
If I need to,
Don't the sawmills, you're supposed to capture that now? You can't go out into the atmosphere? I thought there's some restrictions for filtering. No,
not that I'm aware of. It's not a real fine dust, it's sawdust.
it's all,
And there's a chute on the side, as I'm going down the log, it shoots it out on the ground, makes a stripe on the ground with it.
well,
I usually,
commend you for your honesty, what you're asking for. But I need some advice on this, so.
Absolutely.
You got-
Understood.
Okay, yeah, this is something unique, and so I will continue this case. Next meeting, you think, or what's our schedule, how's it?
The next meeting is May 21st. But are you gonna have time to, I don't know
Yeah,
if Scott's
we're-
gonna be available, but we can.
We find out, see. Call the staff in a couple of days.
I couldn't hear you, I'm sorry.
Call the staff in a couple of days.
In a couple days?
Schedule for, I don't
Yeah,
know, it'll be next.
we'll check with staff and
Okay, so I'm on motion to continue case DV 2024-67.
If you could email that information on the kind of saw you have.
I'll get you all the specs.
Yeah, and just email it and I'll get it to him and then he can talk to the attorney to see.
To what address do I email?
get it to me and I'll
Okay.
forward it.
All right, that'll work.
Will go through me.
Okay, thank you.
Well, thank you.
Thanks so much.
Okay, next case is DV-2024-9, applicant David and Jennifer Leeds, care of Curtis Heyman with Milnar Buildings, location 1800 PM, Westchester Township, zone R1, single-family residential district. Acreage is 2, request for a proposed 42 by 48-foot pole barn to vary from the following. First, to allow an increase in height from a maximum of 20 feet to 24 3. Next is to exceed the maximum floor area allowed by 490 square feet. And lastly, to allow the pole barn to be placed in the front yard.
Good afternoon. Attorney Adam Swarden here on behalf of petitioner David and Jennifer Leeds. So this is obviously a continuation from the last hearing. I think I have a bit of a presentation here to address some of the issues that were raised, but I did want to just generally cover a couple of points. I know one of the major issues was a drainage issue and concern given the location here in relationship to the pond that's just northeast of the site. I know that the department did go out and David Champion did kind of assess the site and had come back with comments that the location that they were proposing in the front yard from a drainage standpoint impact to the surrounding property, that this made sense. And obviously had given, I think, a couple more comments, which I'll cover on the drainage going down to the natural area. The other big issue I know from the last hearing that I just witnessed being in the audience was the height. So we had gone back to the builder, talked with them. They dropped the outside wall height down to 14 feet, which essentially dropped the roof pitch and height down another 2 feet. So we're right at 22 feet, which gets it down significantly from what was originally proposed. So it now has a 412 roof pitch. With that and with Monica's assistance, I'm going to go through a real quick PowerPoint here so we get a lay of the land. So these two parcels rise 1800 Indian Boundary Road. And the location that is being proposed, I don't know if my pointer is going to show up here on the screen, but there's the red dash line. That's approximately where the drainage goes through the front of the property, and we'll see a picture of that in a moment, and the driveway crosses over that. And the house is located really about halfway through that back lot. So most of this lot is front yard, which is kind of odd in this location. And when you look around the site, the only neighbor that actually has a front yard that's going to view this location is immediately to the west. Everybody else that backs up to this lot, whether they're to the east, the south, or the west, it's all rear yards. Monica, if you can advance one. So this is the driveway entrance. This is what you see from 1800. This picture was taken a week ago. This isn't even full vegetation, but where you see the box on the power pole, there's a tree right behind there. If you basically were to look straight through about 300, 400 feet back, that's where the building's going to be. I walked this sidewalk all up and down. There's really no way to view this location from the street, and we're not even at a mature tree position yet. Monica, if you can advance one more. This is the view from the neighbor immediately to the west. It has the driveway. There is a bit of a clearing through there where you might be able to see a portion of this as it's tucked into that low spot, or I'm sorry, on the high spot in the front yard. Monica, if you can advance that. And so this is now interior of the site. Out in front of the home, there's a circular driveway, and you can see the stake there in the middle. That would be the front of the building, and then it's going to actually go further back and get tucked into that nook there where the vegetation is all around. So that's the location. And what you can't really tell here, but you can if you walk the site, is there's a bit of a swale between that high point and the house. And over on the west side, you can see there's a stone area with kind of a mulch bed. Mr. Lees and his wife graded that to provide for better drainage just for the site in general, because everything flows from the backyard to the front. So by them putting this building in this location, this kind of goes back to David Champion's comment from looking at the site, as long as they tie in drainage around this building, they've already got a natural place that they've improved to support the drainage going up to that creek shed where we had that red line in the beginning. Monica, if you can go one more. So what I did here, again, just to give a lay of the land for the impact to front yard versus rear yard, is this is standing at that first stake that we just looked at. I did a panoramic photo. So to the left here, you have the backyard of the property to the east that has multiple accessory structures that back right up to this location. Then you have Mr. and Mrs. Leeds' house there in the middle with the circular drive. And then immediately to the west, you have the one homeowner who is only going to be able to see a portion of this building from their front yard. And that's only because of the placement of the building and the placement of their primary residence. Monica, if you can go next one. So I wanted to, again, capture the impact of kind of this whole most of these property owners, this is in their rear yard. So this is looking east. You almost can't even see the accessory structures that are to the neighbor of the east, but they have 2 accessory structures backing right up and within about 40 feet of this location. So from an appropriateness standpoint, I don't see this being, you know, the traditional, we're going down a subdivision, hey, we got a pole barn in the front yard that everybody's gonna see. This is gonna be the closest location from a visual impact to a neighbor that's not only screened by vegetation, but screened by their own accessory structures. Monica, if you can go forward one. So this is the current backyard of the primary residence. Again, you can see the standing water that's here in the middle of the yard. I think David had made a comment about that, and I think, Rich, you've been out there to the site. I don't know if it was still wet or not. But there's about a 30 to 40-foot wooded buffer in the backyard between them and the neighbors to the south and to the southeast and southwest. We've got some photos in here that'll show shortly. This is an area that's used heavily by deer. So if they were required to put this in the backyard, one, it's going to substantially change the drainage that's currently there that's got some standing water in their yard and increase those problems not only for them but potentially for neighbors. But they're going to have to clear out that buffer and tree stand, which is, again, everybody's backyards to the south of them. Monica, if you can go ahead and advance. As of last week, this was standing water that's kind of in those areas in that buffer zone. You can see they kind of have a berm here to direct some of that flow, again, to the drainage areas that goes around the house, out to that front yard of the swale that we were looking at earlier. Monica, if you can advance one more. And here's a picture. This is pretty consistent. This is the easiest one to see because it's winter time, so no vegetation. But there's several deer back in there that frequent the area, whether it's winter time or summertime. If they clear cut that, they're probably going to lose that aspect of their property. They enjoy looking at that. I would imagine if we had neighbors here that also get to see this quarter, they would say the same thing. So again, this is a very unique situation just given the placement of the primary structure, but this is one location where being in the front yard and given the amount of vegetation that's at the front of the property and the drainage area and the screening all around except for the one neighbor makes sense. Monica, if you can advance that. So to kind of hit home here, this is the drainage issues that they've been having because of situation in their backyard. They have since remediated this and are working with U.S. waterproofing to prevent the ongoing drainage problem here. I know they've talked with some neighbors. There's concern about this being a condition that's going to plague their basement if they were to make some drainage changes and put a structure in the actual backyard that's required per the code. Monica, if you can advance. So again, going back to the site, what they're proposing doing, I showed you the photograph earlier where they've done the gravel down the driveway that picks up the drainage from the swale. This is the direction that they're looking at proposing for the additional drainage around the structure being in the front yard to make use of their improvement there to solve some of their current drainage issues. You can go to the next slide. This is the creek shed that's in the front yard. If I didn't tell you that, looking at this, you'd think this is in a forest. This is their front yard. So this is why you cannot see into this property and see this structure from the roadside. And so again, to me, being in the front yard, not impacting a somewhat similar environmental situation in the rear yard for not only their benefit, but the benefit of the neighbors, that location just makes sense. So with that, that was kind of the update presentation on some of the issues that were raised at the last hearing. If you got any specific questions over the building size and the structure, we do have the builder here to be able to address those items.
Thank you. Okay, I'll open up the public hearing. Anybody want to speak in favor of this case? In favor? Seeing none, anybody want to speak against or have questions? Sir, I thought you approached me. Yes.
He said if you're against it, we have anyone against it? Come up and state
Yeah,
your
anybody against it?
name and address and your concerns.
Okay. My name is Tom Mapp. I live at, in the house east of this property, 1835. We came out to 1835 from Chicago in 1989, looking for a little peace and quiet. Found this very handsome residential area, which didn't, by the way, have any pole barns. There are no pole barns now. And our concern is that with a pole barn and with the apparent interest in collecting cars and motorcycles and presumably working on them, that we'll have quite an active situation next door. And I don't know what's going to happen then to the peace and quiet. But should the peace and quiet diminish, I'm afraid that that would also affect the property values in the area. And those are my main concerns.
Okay. Thank you. Anybody else, please? Come up to the mic.
Jane Cooperman, 1835 Indian Boundary Road. Last week, we did drop off 4 letters. Okay.
We've received those, yes.
Okay, fine. I have concerns about that, but our concern, again, we've lived there a long time, and this front property floods, not every year, but when it does, sometimes it floods over Indian Boundary, it floods onto our property, and what I know is that this is a long-standing problem in this area. And to cover up so much of that front lawn is going to make the problem worse. And it's going to come onto our property. And I see that as a problem. Now, is it a solution to put it in the back? That's not a good solution either. But it's better than covering up that lawn.
Okay.
And then I would keep it to the required size. You know, don't cover up so much square footage. I feel very badly. I'm certain when they bought the property, they had no idea of the long-standing drainage issues that go into our property, into the pond, that floods into the Little Calumet River, and on occasion floods on the street. You can talk to them, and closes down Indian Boundary Road. So I see that as a real problem, and not to add to that problem.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Okay. Kate, ma'am.
Hi, I'm Nancy McGowan. I live on Arbutus Drive. And the pictures that the gentleman showed you from the street, I walk down that street 4 or 5 times a day, 4 or 5 times a week. And 6 or 7 months out of the year, there are no leaves on the trees. And with no leaves on the trees, that pole barn is going to be very evident. Even now, I walked up there today, and I can see that front yard through those trees. So the fact that he's saying you're not going to be able to see it from the street, maybe right this minute you can't, but come September, October, when we lose the leaves, that pole barn is going to be very evident.
Okay.
And as far as the deer in the backyard, I have a standard size lot. I have deer in my backyard all the time. They don't care about my house. They'll just find some other way around it if he puts it in the backyard. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else want to speak? Okay. Turn it back over to you.
Sure.
Just a response, please.
Yeah. Monica, if we can go to that last photograph in the presentation. Via the drainage area. Keep going, one more. All right. So these pictures were taken last week. I know in the prior hearing, there was testimony given about how much work's gone in cleaning up this area that was chock full of downed trees and debris. They've cleared a significant area here to allow the drainage. It's flowing through even after the last storm. So if there's ongoing flooding and drainage issues, it's not happening here. And after the rain events we had last week, if there was going to be blockages here, we would have seen evidence of that, which is intentional why I went out the last week. And it was good timing, too, for stormwater to go out and to assess the drainage issue. I know there was some testimony at the last hearing that there are some blockages further upstream and downstream. I did observe those upstream from the side street. There's elevational changes. There's not being maintenance of the ditches there and the other properties. We can't solve that, otherwise it'd be trespassing. On the comment related to being able to see the property during the fall, I have actual photographs here, if I can approach.
Thank you.
So these are photographs of the same view that I took from across the street where you can't see the yard at all, even with no leaf coverage. You can tell there's a house and a driveway back there, and you can see the neighbor's property that has the front yard to view that because of their proximity to the street. So, you know, from a visual impact standpoint, you're still not going to see this structure any different than you're going to be maybe able to see primary structures from the street that somebody sees walking down. The gentleman that lives at 1830, Monica, if you can go back to the panoramic, keep going. That one, stop. So this is, whoop, go for it. So this, the gentleman that was talking about impact to the community and noise, this is his backyard. He's got 2 accessory structures in the backyard. I don't know what he uses them for, but, you know, to come in here and make a case that this is going to have a detrimental impact on the enjoyment of his property, we're backing up and putting in the same area of his backyard another accessory structure. So, you know, I guess from a standpoint of where do we put it, there was some commentary from one of the demonstrators of putting it in the backyard because the front yard's so nice. Well, the square footage from a drainage standpoint, it's all going to go to the front yard. Whether you put it in the front yard or the backyard, it's going to have the same drainage impact. It just, again, from county going out and looking at this, this makes the most sense for location. It's going to have the least amount of impact to the site, and the unique nature of this property, given the location of the principal structure and the drainage issues that are in that backyard, really indicate the front yard being the high point makes the most sense.
Okay. Ma'am, you had one more comment? Okay. State your name and address again, please.
Jane Cooperman, 1835 Indian Boundary Road. Yes, I understand. It doesn't flood every year. You know, it's not a yearly occurrence. We've been there a long time, but it is an ongoing issue. And I disagree that to cover up this grassy area will impact the frequency and the amount of flooding. You know, it is just not a good idea. Plus, it also sets a precedent in our area. There are no pole barns in the front yards in this residential. It's a very nice, quiet, simple residential area.
Okay.
There are no pole barns.
Okay, we understand. Thank you. Yeah, I'm going to close a public hearing. What are you going to use a pole barn for?
Storage of our various classic cars and motorcycles and parts and just personal storage.
Just storage? Are you going to work?
I do routine maintenance on them, oil changes, things like that. I don't work on anybody else's cars but my own. Just routine maintenance. We, like our neighbors, enjoy peace and quiet and have no intention of disrupting that in any way. Are we gonna make some noise during the day sometimes, cutting up wood or doing something? Absolutely, just like everybody does. It's not a business. I'm not out there every day. I work 60 hours plus a week. I don't have time to be out there every day. So it's mostly for storage to keep the nice stuff that we have nice.
Okay, why so large? I mean, you're talking over 2,000 square feet.
The reason, like I told you before, the reason for the size is because that's how much stuff we have. I mean, we're coming from a place where we had a 2,200 square foot building, and we utilized every bit of it.
Okay. Well, I think the drainage we could put to bed. It's either, I walked it yesterday, and there's standing water in front also and in back.
In the swale there.
Yeah, I've seen both. Okay. And one thing, and the engineer, you know, he said it's not a main issue. There is a drainage issue out there, it's wet, but that's not deterrent to this project. But your pictures did not show that we have a shed or a pole barn lined up with the driveway. Your truck was parked there with a trailer, if I remember right. Okay, you didn't show that picture. Okay, what is that shed or pole barn used for? It's,
That's just a small garden shed which we keep our lawnmower in and
Yeah.
shovels and rakes and
what size is that?
12 by 18, I think.
12 by 18.
Okay.
Yeah. 200
Why can't your
rough.
pole barn go there? Why can't you put your pole barn there and relocate that shed?
Well, if we put it back there, number one, I'm very concerned about the drainage issues to my house and my neighbors because, as you can see, our basement already floods.
Yeah.
And if we put it back there, we're gonna have to raise that ground up to keep the building out of the water. When it rains heavy, that water will come all the way up to the bottom of the landscape, or to the top of the landscaping rocks. So if we put it back here, we're gonna have to elevate the building, the ground, to accommodate that, which is gonna cause more problems for our basement, our neighbors' basements. And I don't wanna do that. You know, the last thing I want to do is create more problems than we already have with an already wet area. The only location that makes sense is out front because we can dump the water right in the creek.
But the shed is there now.
The shed is there now, and it gets wet.
Well,
That's why we don't have anything valuable in there, you know?
it's definitely, my view is definitely out of character for the area. I know we've received 4 or 5 letters against, 2 or 3, 4. I'm not gonna read all those in, but we have those on record now. But it's just totally out of character. It's so large of a building. It's like another house, and you know, I don't see the hardship. You could put it in the backyard. It might be a little bit smaller. I don't know how much room you have if you relocate that shed, but you could put it there. You may have to elevate it a little bit. I don't know that, but I don't see the hardship in this case. I just don't see it. I just think it's going to have negative impact for the area. In the area, and I agree with your neighbors. It's there's no pole barns out there now in the front yard.
That's not true.
So
There's a
with
pole
that,
down
excuse
the
me,
street.
with that, I will deny case DV-2024-9. Okay, next case, DV-2024-12, applicant David and Amy Kurt, care of Adam Swarden, a Swarden Law Firm, location 317 West 100 South, Valparaiso in Porter Township. Zoning is RR, Rural Residential District, acreage is 10.02. Request to allow for a proposed 80 by 72-foot pole barn to vary from the following codes. First, to allow an increase in height from maximum allowed 20 feet to 33 feet tall. Second, to exceed the maximum floor area by 3,010 square feet. Third, to exceed the maximum number of accessory structure permitted from the allowed 3 to 5.
Good afternoon. Attorney Adam Swarden again here on behalf of petitioner. So on screen here,
I didn't hear your statement.
Oh, Attorney Adam Swarden here on behalf of petitioner of the Kurtz. 317 West, 300 South, Valparaiso, Indiana, 46385. So this is a rural residential property. In addition to the parcel that's highlighted here in blue, they also own the contiguous parcel to the west, similar size acreage, and they also own the parcel to the northeast. So in total, they're farming a considerable acreage of about 25 acres. They have an existing flower farm that has been in operation for several years. And what they have come to notice is the increase in the utilization of the flowers and providing the local flower shops with products that they take out of the property and deliver themselves to those locations. And the current barn that they have in the rear of the site is not large and sufficient enough for the operation and the utilization that they have for the additional acreage that they're using for the site. So what they are proposing doing is building an additional barn, and they do want to have a restroom at the barn, which has triggered a new septic system requirement. I have talked with Dan's office as of today. They actually were going out and doing the site inspection. The soil borings and everything came back good for this location, and the state has preliminarily reviewed it. The expectation is it's going to come back in for local approval, but there was nothing that came back from a negative standpoint for putting additional septic in for this site, for this building, for the bathroom. And so what they're asking for is to be able to run all the equipment that they currently have for the increased capacity, because right now they have some things that are being stored outside and they're gonna need more equipment. And instead of putting additional buildings on additional sites, they wanna keep everything on this primary parcel where the main structure's at, the main barn's at, and not impact any other property because of the screening and buffering that goes around that central parcel. I think, Rick, if you've been out there, that whole front section of both of their properties is kind of a wetland naturalized area. So they want to keep everything in the back, in that zone, and keep everything close to the existing driveway so that they're not impacting the surrounding area. Everything in this location is fully screened to the south, to the east, and to the west. There's actually, I could not, even from the county road out front and the county roads to the east, see the location where this building's going to go in. You can see their rear barn that exists. So there's not going to be any impact to any of the neighbors unless you're the guy to the west and you walk all the way back past his existing pole barn to look over to see this. So this needs coming in regards to the increase that they have for the flower farm and the need to have that space available for the future use. I know as part of the application, there were elevations provided to show what they're proposing it doing out at this location. And the reason for the request is just given the number of buildings that they currently have between the main house, the detached garage, the pool house, and the existing farm structure in the back that's no longer large enough to meet their needs.
That's it? Thank you. Okay, so public hearing, anybody want to speak in favor of this case? In favor? Saying, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
My name's Alan Hewitt. I live at 62 East, 950 North, Chesterton. It's in Liberty Township. And I farm in Liberty Township. And Rick Burns may remember when the UDO was being considered by the Plan Commission, I spoke in favor of the farmers. I also spoke on this very issue about size requirements in non-agricultural land, that people that were involved in agriculture, even though in rural residential R1 and so forth, would need to be able to put in taller buildings what their primary structure is. It never got approved that way, but I did speak in favor of it, and I'd like to speak in favor of it for this petitioner. Being involved in agriculture myself, you do need some taller buildings, so therefore I'd like you to see it approved.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. Anybody else want to speak? Okay, turn it back over to you.
Sure. Yeah, I think the only thing I would add is the location was selected primarily because of access from the main part of the house there and to lessen any visual impact given everything else as far as the built environment other than the rear barn is up near close to the house.
Okay, I'm going to close the public hearing. Why so tall?
Because they have a need for the equipment that they're going to have out there for increasing production for the flower farm. They need to have the height of the doors that are out there. And they wanted to match the aesthetic of the property, which includes the house. And their existing barn in the back is of a similar height. And they don't have any issue right now getting the equipment in and out of there, but they're going to be adding equipment of similar size, and they need that space.
Okay, so what size is that barn that they have now?
In the back, I don't have the exact height on me, but it's definitely taller than 24 feet. 'Cause I think they have an 8 door on there. I don't have the property record card, Rich. If you hang on one second, I might have it in my file. Because I know it's on their property record card.
6 by 64.
That's a width.
Doesn't have the height?
12 foot.
Yeah, that's
12 foot? Yeah, that's
12 foot.
No, it's bigger than 12 foot. I've been out there. Oh yeah, it's way bigger than 12 foot.
That's not.
okay.
Yeah, it's large.
Which barn, all the way in back or all?
Yeah, so if you look at the white roof there with the red, yeah. Monica, are you able to zoom in on that a little bit?
Yeah, see, give me a height if you can.
Yeah, I mean, so when you see here, I mean, you can see the man door there. That's a 7-foot man door. That building, even to the center peak, it's probably more like 28 feet, almost 30. It's large.
I would say you're right, it's probably 28 to 30,
Yeah.
yeah. That's why I'm asking why 36.
Yeah, that 12 feet might be the sidewall because it's got the
It could be.
mansard style roof.
No, I guess can he live with a 28 to 30 feet? I mean, that's 36 is a tall building.
Yeah, I mean, the issue again is the classic, cases the gentleman was saying is door height, having the clearance in there.
Well, I understand that, but with a 28 tall building, you're gonna get the door height. Normally, you need 14 or 16 for farm equipment, is that correct, about 16?
Sometimes you need a little bit taller depending on the equipment.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the plan that they would like to have is not having to unattach implements and things like that to be pulling equipment in and out, which has always been part of the issue with some of these height restrictions on these accessory structures, so.
It would be a barn like this, identical? Or
Yeah, they want to match the aesthetic. We've got elevations in there. I mean, it's got some, they're looking at aesthetically having this similar match the home. They've got cupola on there. They're gonna match similar style and color.
Did you send site plans in?
Yeah, I didn't see it.
Pictures? I don't have any pictures of
Yeah,
this.
I didn't see anything.
Oh, you don't have it?
No, I didn't.
Oh.
I didn't have it. I have this here. Okay. There it is.
And one of the other issues that they're having is a lot of this stuff too, they also do a lot of dried arrangements, so they have storage needs that they have to keep this stuff inside. So a lot of the aspects of needing to have two spaces, one for equipment, and then you have another area, which is essentially lofted, is so that they can store all this stuff after they bring it in and harvest it from the property.
The door's over here. It's on the sides. It's
Yeah.
not even in the front.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't mind approving a pole barn out there, a larger one, but this is extremely large, and what you just showed me, the door's on the side, so the height, apparently you meant the height, okay, for equipment. It's not normally put on a gable end, okay, so you get large equipment, and like the farmers do. Most of the farmers, when they build their barns, they have the door on the gable end, get a larger door, of course.
Right.
This is not, at least I don't see it here, so. See, I wouldn't mind making the same size as the one they have out there, the height-wise. And this is it's a large barn.
Right. The reason why it's configured in that is because given the location where they need it at to not impact the field, that door has to be on that end because that's going to be access where equipment comes in and out.
Okay. How tall is the door, do you know? It doesn't show.
I think that door is a 16-foot door.
See, see, what you're telling me doesn't add up. Because now the other side has a door and a gable end and a door smaller. See, normally it'd be larger here, right in the center, if they're trying to get large equipment in.
Right, but if you look at the site plan, so the site plan, it has the hipped roof out from the lower portion, so that door is on this side, because you can't have a door coming out here towards the area they have the other structures at, so it has to come out that side.
Right. We don't care about the location.
Yeah, I don't care.
However you flip it around, you can flip it around however you want.
Yeah.
We're talking about where the placements are for the garage doors.
It just seemed like,
And is it 33 is that including the cupolas or without the cupola?
I believe that dimension includes that cupola, that's the max height, so you gotta.
find out, yeah. Yeah, I don't mind enlarging the pole barn for the people, but are we enlarging too large? And this is extremely large. I mean, extremely tall. It's huge, but do they really need it?
Well, they're farming.
Are they gonna have any living quarters in here?
I mean, they got 30 acres out there, Rich. That's what they're.
It's not combined.
It's 10.
No, I know it's not combined, but I mean, they're operating everything right now on
Okay.
30 acres out of that one barn in the back. And it's not meeting their needs. I mean, just from a store.
He doesn't have a problem with the pole barn.
I don't
It's
have a
just the
problem.
height. You need to talk to him to see if you can get the height down a little bit. 33 foot. I don't know if that's what the cupola or not.
Height and size, this is huge. This is, how many feet, 3,000 square feet over?
Well, your grade is changing behind the house. I mean, the house is, I think the house height is about 36 or 38 feet.
The house is tall.
Yeah, it's
The house-
sitting
house is
behind the
tall.
house.
There's
So,
no doubt, yeah.
I mean, you have a grade, yeah, I mean, I know you've been out to the site, so I mean, from a height standpoint, you're not gonna see this from the street, you're not gonna see it from the neighboring property, it's gonna be behind the house.
How far off the road is it? It's pretty far.
Oh my gosh, it's, I think the measure on it, it's probably like 1,400 feet
Yeah, it's-
back from the road,
Yeah, it's pretty far.
yeah. And there's a significant grade change.
Yeah, I just question why so
Yeah,
tall?
zoom out. So I thought there was, yeah, there's a road here too, so, but there's buffer here.
Yeah.
But what if they own this, right? They own this and then this. Zoom out on. And they own this one?
They own that one, and they all,
Something like this?
yeah, they also own that L shape where the field's at back there, yep.
Do they own this house?
No, they
Okay.
don't own that.
Yeah.
So they, about 40 acres now?
No, it's 30. It's so it's
Yeah.
10 acres, and then the other one is almost another 10 acres.
Okay, why a septic system?
Because they want to have a bathroom in there, because they don't have a bathroom in the back one. So they have to keep coming back all the way up to the front of the property, so they want to solve that problem. And it's just the one bathroom, and it's the smallest size septic that you can have for that building.
Okay.
And that's when Dan said, well, I recommend just, given the size of it, even though it's one bathroom, that needs to get run through because of
But it won't be any living quarters or nothing, no.
there's nothing. So you got one bathroom, one room in there, and it's open.
As you know, only one living
They own
quarters on
this too,
property.
Rick. And this.
They're gonna spend some money on this barn.
Yeah, it's not a small project
It's a,
by any means.
and they need it that large, that's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Wow, that's,
Well, and you see the distance back there just from the utilities that they gotta bring back to just that location too. That's the other reason why they want it as close as possible, is because if they had to go all the way to the back,
yeah,
you know, costs is just astronomical right now.
yeah, I understand that. I mean, he got a nice piece of land. You won't see it. I don't think any neighbors can see it. I mean, there are other, large pole barns in the area.
Yeah, there are.
Yeah.
I think part of the reason they went with the style is there's a neighbor to the east and a neighbor to the west
Yeah.
that have similar size, that have cupolas. Some of them look modern, some of
Yeah.
them don't match.
That's why I was wondering if the size included that.
Yeah.
Because that would add to the height.
Yeah, I don't, because of the dimensions that I have on that, I don't think that includes that, because that bumps that up. Those are all another 2-3 feet, so you'd be,
Well, no, we need to know that if it's with the cupolas or not. I'm assuming it is.
well, I can get full dimensional detail on that, but, yeah. But it's an aesthetic thing purely for matching the environment. I mean, they're gonna be the only ones seeing it, unless somebody comes down the road and clear cuts that lane.
Yeah, you can't see it. It's just, well, I will prove it with the 33 feet with the cupolas. So that's why I have to go by.
Okay. They need to adjust it from there.
Well, you have to come back
Adjust it,
unless
adjust
we
it,
continue.
bring it down, or they'll have to shrink the
How soon they're gonna construct this?
They're still working on some site parameters, and we're still waiting on the state to kick back to Dan's office on the septic. I know that Zach went out today and did the site inspection, so I'm supposed to get that report later today.
You want to continue until you find out for sure? Because once I make the motion, then.
Yeah.
they're-
No, he knows it's gonna come back positive. They have to work with John on the final comments.
No, I'm talking about the height. I can make the motion with the height only at 33, including the cupolas.
And that's what you requested is 33.
Right, yeah, so,
If it was anything else than that, we'd have to
no, the approval would be for that. I'll get clarification.
With the cupolas,
And
okay.
if-
So that means the building is,
See that, then we'll obviously have to eliminate them, or they have.
so that means the building is shorter. It must be 28. How tall is cupola on those buildings? 3-4 feet?
Yeah, they're about 3 to 4 feet.
Okay, so you're gonna be around, yeah, okay. All right. You okay with that?
Yeah, they'll be fine with that. That's just purely aesthetic. It's not, I mean,
Well,
really not functional.
well, no, but height restriction at 33, that includes.
Yeah,
the cupola,
that's the purpose.
where I'm coming from. Cannot be used for business, it can't be used for living quarters, they have to sign documents. One bathroom just for day-to-day use, is that the wash? Yeah.
Correct.
Okay. All right, with that, I would approve case DB-2024-12, with the understanding,
I'm gonna keep these, okay?
Yeah.
understanding it will not be used for business or living quarters. We will have one bathroom for day-to-day wash-up, and no taller than 33 feet, including the cupolas.
Thank
You're
you.
approved. Nice barn, nice-looking barn. Okay, next case, DB-2024-13, applicant Dave and Joanna Nuke, hope I pronounced that right. Location 3227 Haviland Road, Valparaiso, Center Township. Zoning's R1, low-density, single-family residential district. Acreage is 16 plus. Request to allow an increase in maximum height will allow 20 feet to 26 feet 10 inches for a proposed 30 by 60 pole barn with two 12-foot by 60-foot lean-tos to be used for personal storage.
Yes. All right, so
Your name and,
my name is Dan Noop,
Okay.
3227 Haviland Road,
okay,
Valparaiso.
what's your request? Go ahead.
My request is, I would like to, I have variance for height on my barn that I would like to build. It's a horse barn. It's a kit structure from a company near Seattle. And so they've done the design work, they've done the planning, the engineering, and so all of that has come through them. And I selected this structure for function and aesthetics. And unknowingly, it was a little bit taller than what I anticipated. I didn't know that it was going to be a variance when I went down the path. So now that it is, now that I have the variance, I'm requesting that we allow me to build.
So how tall do you really need it? I mean,
Okay, the structure will be 26 foot 10 inches.
okay. Okay. All right, public hearing, anybody want to speak in favor of this? No. You're not going to speak in favor for a second? Anybody want to speak against? Seeing none. Any issues with this? Okay. Now the height is with the cupola. You heard the last case, is the height with the cupola, that counts.
I wasn't aware that it counted. So it is, we'll add a 3 foot with a cupola. So then it brings the total to 29 foot 10 inches.
Are you sure it's with or without? Do you know? I mean.
I know it's right here. I have the
Yeah,
elevation drawing.
Normally you had elevation sizes on here. Oh, here, wait, maybe
It does show 26 foot 10 inches to the roof line.
to the roof line, okay.
Yeah.
And you're having cupolas? I see the picture.
I did add those, and the reason for the cupola was to try to add more lighting into it. I want to try to minimize the amount of electric and gas usage there.
And how tall is your cupola there?
The cupola was 4 foot, I believe.
So you're gonna be 3210. Is that correct? No, 30.
No, that would be
30.
30 foot
Yeah,
10 inches.
30.
Yes.
30 foot 10 inches. There we go.
Yeah.
My math. Can we do that? Can we add, Chrissy? Since you didn't advertise it?
It's because it's just a cupola.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with it.
Okay. We want to make sure it's not a legal problem because it's only advertised at 2610.
Okay.
All right. It's going to be used for all personal use?
Absolutely. Yeah.
No business?
No.
Not living quarters? Nothing?
No.
It's a signed document?
Well, there's no septic, so.
Yeah, just no stuff. Okay. Got a nice piece of property out there.
Thank you.
And was in family for years.
Yes, and so that's part of the reason for the size is because all of my neighbor are family.
Yeah, you lives around.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we,
Yeah.
you know, we share a lot, so.
So you can't get too many complaints, can you?
Well, there's, no, probably not.
Okay, with that, I'd like to approve case, or will approve case DV-202413. It's approved and used for personal use and for horses, and height will increase to 30 feet 10 inches, and that includes the cupolas.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Okay, next case, DV-2024-14, Nancy Jurek, location 792 North County Line Road, Westville, Jackson Township, zoning is RR, Rural Residential District, acreage .84, request to allow a 16 by 16 shed to be built in the front yard for personal storage.
Hi. My name's Nancy Jurek. I live at, I own 792 North County Line Road with my two sisters. We bought the house from my parents. They had a home, and my dad had a massive stroke, and he couldn't talk and was paralyzed, and we had to put him in a home, and that left our mom at home by herself in a wheelchair, and she fell down numerous times. So we had to find a place where it's flat that she can get her wheelchair in and out because she doesn't walk. And it has no accessory buildings at all, and it's an older home, and there's no storage in. So we have storage units we're paying for right now to try to keep some of their stuff, but there's no place in this new house unless we can build this accessory shed to store their items. She has like a lift if she falls down that we could pick her up. There's multiple large wheelchairs, walkers, all kinds of personal items.
Okay. Okay, that's it? Okay.
I mean, that's basically it. Where we want to put this shed, we can't put it in the side of the yard because they have a septic field. And behind their house, there's only like 8 feet, and the shed is 6 feet, so we can't put it there. But where we're going to put it, it flows nicely with the house, and I think it'll add more aesthetic to the house.
All right, thank you. So public hearing, anybody want to speak in favor? In favor, here, okay. All right. Anybody want to speak against? With that, I'm gonna close the public hearing. Where you had it flagged off, it was where. Yeah, yeah. And be used, you stated personal storage,
Yes.
not a business, not.
No.
Okay, with that, I'd like to approve case DV-2024-14.
Thank you.
Yep.
Can we start that right away, or do we?
You'll have to come back tomorrow to the office because we have all the paperwork down here. But tomorrow you can come in.
Thank you.
Okay, next case is DV-2024-15, William Atkins, location 5006 Lakeview Drive, Valparaiso Center Township, zoning is RL, Residential Lake District. Request to allow for proposed 29.44 foot by 20 foot, a 589 square foot detached garage with residential living above to vary from the following codes. First, to allow an increase in height from a maximum allowed 20 to 22 feet and 6 inches. Next, to exceed the maximum impervious surface from the allowed 60% to 67% of the lot area. Next, you allow for a reduction in minimum front setback from 20 feet to 15 feet. And lastly, to allow for a reduction in side yard setback on both sides from the allowed 8 feet to 5 feet.
William Adkins at 5006 Lakeview, I'm sorry. So we do want to build a living quarters above the garage, but as small as that lot is, and when we built it, it is, it's within, out of the setback codes, and so that's what we're trying to get approval for. And also, to have 8-foot ceilings, we had to go with the bigger floor joists, 16-inch engineered floor joists, so we could get that span without having any columns into the garage part itself to have more open space in the garage. So that's what we're trying to get approved today.
And he was in front of the full BZA for approval for a second dwelling, and they did go over all the setbacks and questions and viewing with them. So they did ask all the, you need to ask them too, but they did go over everything with him also.
Okay.
Yep. Just so you know.
Anybody want to speak in favor? Oh, yeah, well, you don't want to speak? Okay, anybody wants? Yes, sir.
My name is David Lotzenizer, 5001 Lakeview Drive, live across the street. So I'm in favor of the project. It doesn't present any issues as far as I'm concerned.
Okay, which house are you? Which house?
Directly east, or excuse me, west.
So you look over their property?
Yes. In fact, I saw you out there.
You were out there yesterday in your,
I saw you pull up.
on your deck out there? You were?
Yes, I was out there enjoying the weather.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else want to speak in favor or against, or? All right, see none. Okay, one of the questions I had was just the view. Okay, because it's gonna be taller than your house, of course.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you understand that? It's gonna be, yes, I mean, I wanna make sure you understand. It's gonna be taller than his house.
I've been out there 43 years.
Yeah.
And I always knew full well somebody's going to put a garage there at some point in time. And if you have a standard 8-foot garage with a standard 612, say 612, it's going to block the view anyway. It's really not going to be a huge amount. As long as it's not exceeding the width of the house, I'm looking right at his house right now. So that's our position. So I'm number 3, lot 3 there.
Yeah.
3, looking straight out my window, looking right at the back of his house. So going straight up, I mean, I can still see down between.
Yeah, I was concerned when I drove up there, seeing
Yeah.
your house, you know, and it's, you know, it is Lakeview, and the house next to him, they put that tall garage. So
But that doesn't affect
that doesn't
my.
affect you at all.
No, when they built that, it didn't affect my view. You know, obviously, if I wanted 100% lake view, I should have bought a house on the lake.
Okay.
That's the way I look at
Someone
it.
actually gets the rolls.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, all right. That was one of my concern. Other concern, boy, you are really packing this tight in there.
It is.
We just had this
See his
situation.
neighbor too. That's what they were concerned about that too, and seeing how.
Well, if you remember, we addressed this on the other side, okay? And you don't have much room for a car, okay, to park in there. And my concern is, why can't you move it closer to the house?
The whole garage?
The whole garage?
Well, the whole garage it's starting 9 foot from the garage, you know, from the house. I mean, so if you're asking me, could I go closer? I could maybe go a little bit closer.
You're sticking out further than both your neighbors.
So,
neighbors to, I guess, be the north?
So the neighbor right to the south, my garage door the back of my garage is gonna be even with the same as his. You understand on lot 6 there?
South side, but not north side.
On the south side, correct, I'm sorry.
North side, he's in further.
Yes, on the south side, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
On the south side, ours is gonna be right there now. I mean, I could move it up closer to the house. That's kind of the way whoever had the house before that had some type of retaining rocks and we're trying to get all that cleared up. That's kind of where they had that set anyways. I don't mind going closer to the house. I mean, obviously, I'd rather try to be able to fit a car behind there after the garage, you know, so.
Yeah, you don't have much room.
Yeah.
Once you get it constructed, we had this situation a year ago, I think.
So
Same thing, and they moved it, otherwise, you know, we'll get approved. But another question I have, and you've been out there a long time. It looks like the lay of the land, your neighbor will be north of you. That grade of the land you sloped down. It looks like your land was filled in and your neighbor's, where he built that 2-car garage, was built up. Of the grade was built up. It looks like even on your property, somebody brought in fines. Like fines and built it up. So really, it's taller from the original grade.
Well, what I'm just trying to do is make sure that I'm not lower than the road. You know what I mean? I know we have to.
But you understand that?
Yeah, I do.
A fill that much.
Yeah, and I do know. Thank goodness, and we've only had the house not too long, but the neighbor next door, both of us on each side, are all trying hard to work to get all proper landscaping and everything just to get all the.
I understand.
And honestly, we've done a great job, I think, altogether. We don't have any kind of flooding issues, but it definitely is something that I'm trying to eliminate all that, get some of that stuff out of there, and so let me ask you though. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
You've been out for a long time. Do they fill that in over the years? Like the grade of that property across from you sloped down to the houses.
It was a little lower.
Yeah.
When it was lower down there at one point in time.
And then they built it up. Okay.
Yeah, for parking.
Okay.
So, Mr. Burns, you said I could move it closer to the house?
I think you need to. I don't think.
I mean, I'm okay with that.
You're going to be sorry if you don't.
I just didn't think I would, that I could move it any closer, but I don't have a problem with that.
You'd be, well, maybe we went through this, we felt the fire department, there was a regulation 3 feet, but they said no, or the overhangs and all that. You're about 9 feet from the house.
9 feet is where that's where I'd want to.
I think you go within 3 feet, but let us check on it.
I definitely want a walkway, something I could shovel if I need to, but, and then, but I don't have a problem with going closer.
And then go back down to the proper grade, take that. We take your measurement, do it, just what, 4 to 6 inches above the.
Of grade.
Somebody put, I don't know if it looks like grindings from asphalt.
That's what it looks like. But that's what that's what I tried to base everything off of was.
I understand, I know. You just bought the house?
Yes.
Yeah.
About a year ago, 2 years.
Okay. Was there a garage there before?
No, there was never anything.
Looks like you've been gone.
I'm sorry?
And we're okay, you talked about all the setbacks and stuff, we're okay with that?
Yeah.
It's tight. Okay, how close do you move the house, from the garage to the house? What?
Well, I guess I'd have to kind of go see it by eye, but I would say I wouldn't want to be no closer than, off the top of my mind, 5 or 6 feet.
That's what I'm thinking. Once you lay it out, and then I will approve this with a condition. Okay, staff. We'll go out there, or I will go out there, however Chrissy wants to handle it. Well, I will approve it with the location, moving the garage closer.
Okay.
It will help you.
I think it'll help me great. That'd give me a little bit more room.
Parking, it's going to be tight anyway.
Yeah.
And then the height, go back to the, remove that grind, I'm going to call it grind.
Sure.
Okay, where you're just four inches, on the high side above the street, because you don't want to be below.
Right, exactly, correct.
4 inches on the high side, that's going to give you, because you're slope, that's going to give you 6, 8 inches.
Yeah.
Side.
Yeah. It's still going to be above the 20.
How about the slab?
Yeah,
Yeah, your height is fine.
Okay.
It's 20.
It's going to be 22 to 24 to 22 to 23 is the most
No, we can't do that.
22 and a half is what I figured.
22.6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To the peak.
That's what we advertised.
Yeah.
Advertise.
That's the way I figured it.
But that's from where I told you. Okay, removing the grindings.
Yeah.
Not above the grindings. You follow?
Yeah, but I don't think the grindings are above the street. I mean, let's see, maybe it is.
I'll take a look.
Yeah, take a look, yeah.
All right, why don't you go out there?
I will go out there, yeah.
And then you get back with me.
Want me to do that?
Do it contingent on you visiting.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay, we'll make a motion to approve case. Let's see, DV-2024-15, contingent on me looking at your restake it.
Okay.
You don't have to hire, just move it 4 feet or 3 feet.
Okay.
The money. And then we will look at the grindings.
Okay, sure.
Are you work every day or what?
I do. I mean, I work it, but I could.
Well, leave your phone number.
I will, yeah.
Okay.
And I'm flexible enough to, most of the time anyway.
Okay, so with that, I will approve, once we decide on the exact location and the elevation, and be used just for living quarters for temporary, right?
Yeah, it's for my mom. My dad passed away in January, and my mom.
I don't have to make a motion.
No,
I don't have to.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
You just do it, yeah.
That's, okay. So I'm approving for the height to be 22.6 from the agreed grade we agree on. And the reduction of setback from 2015, that's fine, and reduction of side yards from 8 to 5. And the height at 22.6. I'm sorry.
Impervious service
Yeah, that's approved, yeah, from 60 to 67.
But yes.
You're approved contingent on what we just.
Okay, I appreciate that.
Okay.
Thank you.
I may call you tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
Yeah, you leave a number with one of the ladies, all right.
Mistake it today.
Yeah, 'cause I'm going out of town, that's what I'm saying. I don't, you probably want to start, or,
I still got it. I still got quite a ways.
well, I'll be back in a week, so. It's up to you. Okay, if you're not in a hurry, I just wait, I might just wait.
Okay. Just call us and give us your number, or give it to Monty.
All right, well, thank you, good luck. Okay, next case, DB-2024-16, applicant Charles and Mary, is it Clegg? Location 509 East, 1050 North, Westville, Jackson Township, zoning R, rural residential district, which is 68.18. Request to allow for a 1 5-acre lot with existing structure to be divided off the parent parcel to vary from the following codes. 1, to allow for an increase in minimum front setback. 2nd, to allow existing accessory structure to remain on the parent parcel with no primary structure.
Good afternoon, Rich Piazza with Crowell Avonmarsh, 111 East 3rd Street in Hobart. I'm the project manager for the project. The purpose for coming before the board, as you stated, is to minimize the front yard setback for the parcel of 5 acres that we're trying to carve off from the larger parcel. The Kex would to do this to be able to keep it in the family for longevity. They want to get their will and last testament in line and for the future for their children and grandchildren and legacy. There is no plans to add any new structures, not even a doghouse, or anything of that nature. It's simply just to carve out the 5 acres with what's going on with the UDO change from when the house was built till now, and the dedication of the additional 10 foot of right-of-way. The current structure will become a legal non-conforming structure. So we're asking that the setback be reduced to make sure that it still meets the requirements.
That's it?
That's it.
Anybody want to speak in favor of this case? In favor? Seeing none, anybody want to speak against or any questions? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing. The way I understand it, this is for estate purposes. Yeah. Okay, and the barn. You mentioned you may remove that barn when I was out there.
Yes, we're waiting for bids on the barn to have it removed.
Okay. When will that happen? That was in your plans?
Pardon me?
Was that in your plans to remove it? Was that in your?
Eventually, yeah. We're still waiting on people to give us bids, and they're backed up, so
Okay. When will that happen?
probably within the next year.
Okay. So if I put in my motion be removed within a year, you could live by that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you got the call.
We'd be good on that.
That barn, give me a history. Tell the ladies, it was built in what,
1850.
1850?
All the beams and everything are pegged. They're not nailed down or anything. The original wood is underneath the steel. My grandfather put the steel up. He worked for Inland Steel, and he covered the barn with the steel. But everything inside is intact. There's a basement where they kept the cows, and there's jacks and stuff that are supporting that. Right now, the possums and the raccoons are loving it.
Right, yeah, it's not, you said it wasn't in good shape?
Really, it's in good shape, but we have no need for it.
Okay.
So we've looked for a couple people that would want the beams and things like that.
Hey, the beams?
Yeah, and so we're just waiting to hear from people.
Oh, yeah.
They aren't real fast in getting back to you.
Yeah, okay, all right.
The structure is sound.
Okay. I want to make sure you're going to remove the barn. I don't want to make a motion if we're going to remove it, because I know it was in the family for.
Would it be possible to leave the barn?
We prefer not, but is it going to stay in the family?
I know some people in Jackson Township were really sad that they said it's almost historic. It's not falling down or anything, so.
I don't have it.
And it's used for our, it's a major. But doesn't the UDO allow for accessory structures for agriculture? So, I mean,
They're
it
still farm, the family's still farming?
Yes.
Family still,
In fact, the Jackson Township trustee's husband is who farms our land, Keith Myers.
But they don't keep the farm equipment in it.
they don't keep, it's empty.
that's
It's
the
empty,
point of
right?
having an ag.
Pardon me?
Yeah, it's empty,
But,
right?
I mean, that's why I wanted, they originally didn't have it on here, and I wanted to make
Yeah.
sure, in case you did wanna keep it, I didn't wanna have them to, you know, so I said add it on there in case she wanted to leave it on a parcel with no primary structure at the time, cause, I don't know, cause it was old and.
Did you see, I didn't go in the barn.
I have not been in the barn. Now that she talks about it.
It's just
kinda-
safe.
It's safe.
A lot of times, they're unsafe, and we want them down.
No, it's still safe.
That one looks safer than some of the other ones that I've seen.
If we didn't have to remove it, we wouldn't. But we kind of understood that we would have to
Yeah,
remove it.
I'm gonna make a motion, I'm gonna go out there and put my eyes on it.
Okay.
Because we had some unsafe ones in the county, they just fixed one, it's 600, that winery.
Yes.
It's all,
Oh,
yeah, it was ready to come down.
Okay.
I'm gonna make a motion to approve this, but contingent on you have to remove the barn or not.
Okay.
Let me put my eyes on it, and I just wanna make sure it's safe, that's all.
Okay.
That's all I care about, if you want to,
Oh, yeah.
I don't think,
The foundation's all been redone.
see, okay.
Yeah, it's all cement block underneath and everything. It's all safe. It has a double floor on the upper, so the barn technically is safe.
Why don't they use it? That's just curious, why?
We don't use any of the equipment or anything.
Okay,
The only the kids,
Release out your farming, or?
Keith has no use for it either.
Okay.
So it's, at one time, we kept our lawnmowers and things in there, and now my son-in-law and stuff keeps it in the blue barn that you saw.
Yeah.
We keep it in there, but
All right.
it's, you know,
I will make a motion to approve case DV-2024-16 contingent on inspecting the barn for safety. If it's safe, probably keep it. If it's unsafe, it's gonna have to come down.
okay, so someone come out and check it?
I'm gonna do a site visit, yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
Within the next couple of weeks.
Oh, that's fine.
Okay, so, all right, you're approved.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Next case, DV-2024-17, applicant Richard Serena Hard, location 950 North Chesterton, Liberty Township, zoning is RA1, low density, single-family residential district, acreage is 34, to allow for a 4-lot minor subdivision vary from the following codes. First, to allow 4-lot driveway instead of a 2 shared driveways. Second, to allow reduction in minimum driveway separation to be less than 320 feet. Second, to abstain from sidewalk requirements. And lastly, to abstain from planting street trees.
Richard Piazza, Coral Avenue Marsh, 111 East 3rd Street in Hobart, Indiana, project manager for this project as well. Going through the process of a minor subdivision as stated, we're looking to put 4 properties on the 32 acres. Currently, it's only planned to have Mr. Art's house on there for now, but for the future, we're looking to have 3 sellable lots additional to his lot. Being with the layout of the ratio of 4:1 that's recommended in the UDO, the 320 feet is difficult to get with the driveway spacing. So we're asking for that. The reason for that is the spacing of the driveway is going to be closer.
Let me stop right there. What is the distance? That's what we're trying to figure out. What is the distance? You cannot meet the 320 with the plans. What is it?
Without having 4 houses for sale, we don't know exactly what they're going to be right now. We're only building in 1 house currently, and the other 3 will be sold off in the future. So we can come up with a about distance, but I think it was like 280, 285, if I remember correctly. But I don't want to lock them in there.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
And then give us distance between each one.
Are you finished? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You want to add anything to it?
That's pretty much most of what it is. They're larger lots. I mean,
Yeah.
5, 6, 7 approximately acres. So just like to have an individual driveway for each lot available for anybody that would be, interested in building a home there.
Okay. All right. Speak in favor, is a public hearing? Yes, sir.
I don't know if, I'm really not speaking in favor, I'm not speaking against the project.
Sure.
What they're asking for seems totally reasonable to me if they're not putting in a subdivision road, because they were talking about tree plantings and such. It seems like that shouldn't be required. What I'm here for is a different subject. That property, well, first off, let me say I'm going to be 64 this summer, and I've lived there my whole life. I'm quite familiar with the area. I'm quite familiar with the drainage. On the very southeast corner of the lot, there's a low area there. When we get a 2 to 3 inch rain, the water does flood and come up over the road. Give it 6 or 8 hours, the water goes down. Because there's approximately a 12-inch tile runs through there, runs diagonally across this gentleman's property, roughly to the northwest corner. It goes underneath the toll road to the start of Poplar Ditch. The reason I'm here is it would behoove the county to take a look at that drainage. Any development on that site could impact that tile. There's no easements on that. It's not a regulated drain, that section of it.
They do have to do a drainage study prior to getting approval for this and to go through our engineering department.
It's very doubtful that the engineering department or the petitioner knows that tile is there. I do know it's there.
Can he turn in a car?
Yeah.
We have a system, okay, you turn in your concern, and the engineers go out there and investigate that.
Well, you have a system on the computer, but I'm not computer literate.
No, that's okay.
You can
So-
walk up,
No.
in this building, you can walk up and talk to somebody.
Yeah, I just wanted to make the county aware
Oh,
that this could be an issue with the road flooding.
It could be.
And it also affects my uncle's property, which is due east, and it affects my property. I'm about 200 feet kitty corner to the southeast of the property.
Okay.
In fact, I'm close enough, I got one of the legal notifications. And that drainage does affect my property too. I just don't want to see the drainage get goofed up somehow, because I have seen it on other projects that the county has approved. People didn't know the drainage was there, the tiles got cut, and there was drainage problems elsewhere.
I would appreciate if you come to office either next day or two or next week, and the ladies will help you.
You can talk to the stormwater department,
Yeah.
The only other thing I'm going to say, and I'm not going to raise a big fuss about it, but I know it was mentioned the sign was in the wrong place for the hearing. Someone come out and move the sign about 100 feet down the road. It's still on my uncle's property as we speak. It never did get put in front of this property. Like I say, I'm not raising a big fuss about it. Whoever's placing these signs needs to pay a little more attention to
Where's that?
pictures and get them in the right spot.
Maybe we need to give them a site plan so they can see the actual
Yeah.
parcel. It's hard to it's hard to tell property lines when you don't have them marked out when you get out there to try to stake it, but I appreciate that. Sorry.
Thank you.
We'll let them know.
Thanks for your comments. Okay, I'm gonna close the public hearing.
I stuck around for, Adam Swarden, here on behalf of 940 North 50 West Trust, just immediately west, past the farm quarter section. Very familiar with this property, drive this road all the time. I know they don't have specifics for the driveway separation requirement, but this is not going to be out of character for this area. I'd actually be more concerned if they were trying to do a subdivision, trying to get everybody out of one location, just because of the width of the county road there. And there are some sections there where there's a bit of a ditch. And right now, there's a lot of folks that kind of come in and out along that roadway, and those distances are nowhere near what the UDO is. There's never been a problem. I pretty much almost drive that road almost every day. So this is not out of character, but I do echo the concern because I have noticed the drainage issues at times when there's a heavy rain event.
And I know that some ways that they've looked at dealing with this in other locations where we maybe don't know where the tile's at is when they go through the next phase and they're looking at development approval, is looking at perimeter drains around each of the lots. So like if we're not gonna try to figure out how that horizontal 12-inch pipe works, just try to have them incorporate that into not only this for the septic for daylighting, but also for the actual lot drainage. And then that way the county can control where that water goes and we don't have a flooded street.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I'm gonna close public hearing.
One thing is with the row cropping that's going on now and what's being presented with the housing, there was gonna be less drainage coming off the property with grass versus row cropping, so there's gonna be less a higher time concentration and less volume of water that's gonna go into those pipes right now to help address the drainage issues.
Okay. Okay, let's talk about the driveways. We need to know the distance on those driveways. Separation.
If you guys tell us a minimum size, we can agree with that. But right now, there's, like I said, Mr. Ard is planning on building on one lot and having the other 3 for the future. But the 380 or the 320 is not achievable, especially with the 2 on the east side being only 277 feet wide and 265 feet wide. So if we say a minimum 200, we'll have to abide by that.
What is it now that we have to use minor sub?
380 or
320. Now, they're constructing the first house on lot 1?
Correct.
Which?
Yes.
Lot 1.
I'm still having plans drawn by an architect. We're just trying to get generic.
They could put a curved driveway and kick that over a little bit. They could, if you wanted to.
A curved driveway?
Yeah.
Lot 1 and 2 isn't the issue. 3 and 4 are the issue.
Yeah.
Because they're narrower lots.
Yeah.
So if you say.
But it's just the distance, especially lot 2 through 4. Although I think some driveways out there are pretty close together. I drove that.
I mean, the houses across the street aren't shared driveways, and they're very
Minor
close.
sub, it's 100 feet.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
I would say 200 would be more than enough.
I say 200, yeah. Want to go 200?
What do you say? What do you think?
The minimum 200?
Separation between each one, 200, is that gonna work?
Trying to.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, flip the house, yeah. If you flip it, you're right. See what she's saying? If you flip the house,
With the garage on the other side.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys are comfortable with 200 and you're comfortable with 200,
Yeah.
we'll just make that a stipulation
Well,
of subdivision.
I think work. Flip it.
Yeah.
Like your last, on lot 4.
Yeah, 320 is not achievable, but 200 is.
You can, on lot 4, you can flip it the other direction, and the 2 center ones, flip it as lot 1 on the left side. I mean, I think you get your 200.
But being that we don't have hard plans, it was difficult.
But you can make a requirement.
Yep.
You're gonna have to.
When you do plan, you can plan.
Yep, exactly.
And the other issues, the drainage issues he brought up, okay, they're gonna have to give an engineering.
Yeah, we have a drainage study intact, ready to go, as long as we get these variances in place.
Okay.
Yep.
And you're gonna take consideration of that property he's talking about with the 12-inch drain line?
Correct.
Look at that, or?
I went through there.
Is that by lot 4? Is that where's that line at?
It starts in the southeast corner.
Oh, the southeast corner?
And it goes basically to the southwest corner. It cuts kind of kitty corner across.
A kitty corner, okay.
Yeah.
I now know what they're talking about, because I've walked that back corner.
Yeah.
In fact, there's a blowhole back there, and I don't know if it's on your property or the neighbor's. It's close. Is it on yours?
Yeah, there's a,
Okay, it goes from that corner, and there's a blowhole where it needs repaired. Repaired.
Right.
And then it goes underneath the toll road, and it's actually the headwater for the O'Connor ditch.
But now's the time to look at it.
Yep.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Which if you need to get a hold of David or someone,
Yeah.
go out there. check on it.
No problem.
That would help your calculations.
Nope, for sure.
Okay, so they're gonna do a calculation, all the lots. I think it's required, isn't it?
Oh,
drainage?
absolutely.
No, it's part of the drainage requirement.
I was just proposing, like,
Sure.
depending on what they find with trying to locate.
Yeah.
that, there's easy solutions for that, so you guys aren't trying to like figure out what. to
Sure.
do. Just put a perimeter for each lot or
Yeah.
how house work out.
Yeah, but they still need to fix that drainage issue you're talking about, the 12-inch culvert. Okay, with that, I will approve case DB-20-24-17 with the understanding the separation between the driveways will be 200 feet minimum. Okay, you're approved.
Thank you.
And that is it.
Guys.
You're welcome. Have a good one.
I'm having a viewer.
Okay, anything else before?
I know Keith Myers quite well.
Adjourn.
I know him a little bit. I know.
Ed Ruby was farming my property, lives down the street. But